Hello, welcome to 10 at 10. My name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Cyber Education Research Center here at Murray State University, and welcome to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and local partner Sprocket Innovation in Paducah and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. So, a few weeks ago, we started a series on computer security incident handling. How do we handle an incident, a security incident, if we have one at our organization? If you're having a security incident at your organization, you're having a bad day. It is not a day that you'll want to remember. It's a day that unfortunately you probably will remember. Whatever those really bad events are in our lives, we tend to remember those. We started a few weeks ago talking about this process of how do we handle these types of bad events, these incidents. We've been walking through. We started with the preparation. Uh, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Preparation is key in these security incidents. If you're having one of the worst days, you're having this bad day. You know this incident's going on. You're going through the process. You're going through uh, everything that you need to do. But frankly, you're in a fog. You're in a haze. You're going through, and it's almost like it's an out of body experience from a bad perspective. So the more that you can do to prepare ahead of time, the better off you'll be when you're going through that incident. The more you prepare ahead of time, the better you'll be able to detect and analyze the data. The more that you prepare ahead of time, the better off you'll be to contain it. The better off you'll be to eradicate it. The better off you'll be to recover from it. We talked about those pieces, and all of that's true. The more you prepare, the better off you'll be. Well, this week we're going to actually talk about the post incident activity. So we have now officially recovered from our incident. We're back online, we're back operating. What do we do now? Well, it's the post incident activity. It comes after containment, eradication, and recovery, and at the very end. But what the post incident activity does is that it drives us back to preparation. The whole goal of our post incident activity, lessons learned, and you'll see that term in a minute, is to help us learn from this bad event so perhaps we can stop the next bad event. It's horrible to get hit with ransomware. It's even worse to get hit with ransomware twice. If we're going to be the victim of a data breach because of a problem, maybe it was a problem that we couldn't detect it. Maybe it was a problem that we had some system in place that wasn't what it should be. The hope is that we can learn from that. We can patch those security flaws. We can improve our detection, and ultimately, perhaps we don't have that incident again. That's the goal. So, how do we go about that? Well, first of all, as I just said, one of the most important parts of incident response is learning and improving. How can we learn from this horrible event to improve our security of our organization so that perhaps, maybe, just maybe, we can stop this from happening again in the future? That's what we're trying to do. That's what our goal is. And that's the goal of this post incident activity phase, this lessons learned phase, is how do we do that? Well, we start off by having a lessons learned meeting. We have a lessons learned meeting. We want to know what occurred, what was done to intervene, how well did the intervention work? So let me back up and say, when should this meeting take place? Um, Obviously, you don't want to have a lessons learned meeting in the middle of responding to the incident. So if we go back to this process, we don't want to have it while we're trying to contain and recover from our incident. It's obviously going to be after all of that's done. We want to wait till everything's done. But when should we do this? I would argue that it should be held within several days of the event. Maybe it's a week after. That may be okay. If we wait for 2 months or 3 months after this event to have our lessons learned meeting, you're not going to remember the details. It's those details that are going to really help in this recovery or this learning process. So how do we do all that? Let me also say that Your organization may not be technical. That's fine. You should still do a lessons learned. You may have hired an external consultant to help you through the recovery and containment process. That's fine. You should still have a lessons learned meeting. Actually, what would be great is if that consultant, that third party, could come. Now, you may not want to do that because maybe you'd have to pay them, and there's some confidential information that whatever reason you may have, maybe you don't, but you could. The more input, the more that you can understand what occurred, what was done to stop it, and how well it worked, or how, what worked well, what didn't work well, the better off you'll be for the next time. Even if you're not technical, this process is important. Frankly, this is a project management process that every organization should do at the end of every project, really, anyway. That is one of those methodologies in the project management world of the closeout that we want to wrap up the closing phase by having a lessons learned for historical record purposes. So it's an important phase. It's really important in this because now we're talking about the security posture of our organization. How do we make sure that this isn't going to happen again? Now, I can get into more detail and I'll touch on a few of these, but you want to know exactly what happened and at what times. You want to know the process of the way things worked. You want to understand that this was the sequence of things that happened. This is how we detected them. This is what we missed. This is what could have been done. How well did the staff and management perform in handling the incident? Were the document procedures followed? Were they adequate? Um, the documented procedures may not have been right. Staff may have performed really well, but the procedures were bad. Staff may have not handled themselves well, may have not performed well. And maybe it's because we need some additional training. Maybe it's because we need some tabletop exercises to kind of work through these procedures to see what works better. What 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 worked well, what didn't. That's the goal that we're going to continue to see here. Um, what information was needed sooner? What steps or actions were any steps or actions taken that might have inhibited the recovery? Did we do anything that actually became a problem in a different part, maybe an unintended consequence of something else that we were doing? And that could be part of the containment. We talked about you want to contain, but you also want to make sure that you're still able to see the scope and how bad that the incident truly was. So maybe there was something that was done inadvertently that actually caused the incident to be worse. Um, what what would the staff management and management do differently the next time a similar incident occurs? Now, again, we don't want this incident to happen once. We definitely don't want the incident to happen twice. But if it were to happen again, um, what should we do differently? What should we do the same? What should we do differently? Could information sharing with other organizations have been improved? Whether was there something that we could have shared that would have helped? Is there corrective actions? And this is a big one. Uh, are there corrective actions that you should take that you could prevent similar incidents from happening in the future? What should we do? Was there a patch that was failed to load, that failed to be applied? Are there things that we should be doing? Were there precursors or indicators that we missed that we could watch for in the future to make sure this doesn't happen? And depending on how big this incident was, what tools, resources do we need to add to the organization so that we can stop this from happening in the future? What happens a lot of times, unfortunately, what happens a lot of times is that organizations view security as just a cost. It just costs us money. It's just those guys over in the security department and the IT department that just want to spend money on a new server or a new uh, intrusion prevention system or a new firewall or a new whatever. It's just going to cost us money until the incident happens, and then all of a sudden we want to spend money to apply to make sure this doesn't happen again. Well, first of all, that's good that money is finally being allocated. It should have been happening beforehand, but the incident happened. Um, Frankly, we can always be more secure as an organization. What tools, resources do we need to detect, analyze, and mitigate future incidents? Those are important. So, finally, let me wrap up again: prevention, detection, analysis, eradication, containment, recovery, post incident activity. The post incident activity, all those questions that you just answered should feed back into your preparation phase so that next time you're better prepared, so that next time your detection and your analysis happen faster, so that next time your containment, eradication, and recovery can go smoother. That is the goal. That is why we do this. And let me finish up this by saying, I don't care how large your company is. I don't care how focused on technology it is. You need to have a plan in place, even if it's a phone number of your consultant to call, but you need to have a plan in place when you detect a security incident has happened at your organization. Where do you go? What do you do? How do you get started? If you wait until the incident happens, you're way uh, behind the eight ball in recovering from this, and it's going to cost your organization a lot of money. So I encourage you to think about incident response now. The sooner you can start thinking about that, the better off you'll be, and the better off your organization will be. I hope that you have found this interesting. If you want to learn more about incident response, let me know. Send me an email. My information will be on the next slide. But send me some contact me, and I'd be happy to talk to you more about this. Some steps and recommendations to take, and even organizations that can help you detect those incidents and help you to recover from it as well. I appreciate you joining us on 10 at 10. Hope you found this helpful, and I hope you join us back here next week for 10 at 10. Thank you. Bye.